Avoid sleep with your pets. If you own a pet, you probably let it sleep in your bed. I do, and I am not alone. According to a 2012 Harris poll, about 70% of American dogs and cats at least occasionally share their owner's bed. The demographics of pet co-sleeping are what you might expect. More women sleep with their pets than men, more cats than dogs are allowed in the bed, and large dogs are less likely to be co-sleepers than small dogs. But should you really slumber with a clumber? Not if you believe sensationalized media reports. For example, a recent Huffington Post headline warned, "Sorry, pet lovers, it's time to stop sharing the bed." And NBC News announced it's out of the sack, cat. These scary news stories were based on a Center for Disease report titled Zoonoses in the Bedroom, in which public health veterinarians Bruno Chommel and Benson linked sleeping with pets with a host of serious maladies. These included meningitis, Chagas disease, cat scratch fever, MRSA, the skin-eating bacteria, staph infections, and even the plague. But I think these news reports are overblown. The CDC report, for example, was based on a conglomeration of very rare cases. But do pets cause insomnia? There is, however, evidence that having a dog or cat in the bedroom may decrease your chances of getting a good night's sleep. John Shepard, director of the Mayo Clinic Sleep Disorders Center, surveyed his patients about pet-related sleep problems after one of them told him how often she had to get up in the middle of the night to let her dog out to pee. As expected, Shepard found that 60% of his 152 pet-owning patients let their pets sleep in their beds. The big surprise was that about half of these pet lovers claimed their pets disrupted their sleep every night. Further, 21% of dog owners and 7% of cat owners complained that their pets snored. The Sealy Sleep Census. I recently became interested in the effect of sleeping with pets when I received a pre-publication copy of an article that will appear in AnthroZoos, a journal dedicated to research on human-animal interactions. It reported the results of the largest study ever undertaken on the impact of pets on their owners' sleep. The research was conducted by a team of Australians headed by Bradley Smith of Central Queensland University, and it was based on a survey of the sleep habits of over 13,000 individuals conducted under the auspices of Sealy, the mattress manufacturer. Using the Sealy data set, the researchers compared the sleep patterns of 1,018 pet co-sleepers with a randomly selected control group of pet owners who did not sleep with their dogs or cats. The two groups were matched for age and gender. Pets in your bed. When Ingrid and Shyama brought their new Winrunner puppy, Cooper, home, they were determined to keep him off their bed. So they bought a dog crate with a bed and fluffy blankets to ensure he had a warm, comfy place to sleep. Cooper, however, had other ideas. The first night he whined, yelped, howled, and cried. Their armors made it 6 hours before their resolve broke and little Cooper was out of the crate and in their bed, where he remained for the next 2 years. He'd sleep between us, under the covers, with his head on the pillow, Ingrid Armour says. He thought he was human. Is it healthy to sleep with pets? So is it healthy to have your dog sleeping in your bed? Derek Damon of Kentucky Allergy, Asthma and Immunology in Louisville, Key, says people who suffer from pet allergies or asthma should not sleep with their dog or cat or even allow them in the bedroom. Use a HEPA filter and keep them out of the bedroom to give your nose a few hours a day to recover, says. But he says most pet lovers won't kick Fido out of bed, even if they discover their pets are causing allergy problems. For those people he recommends allergy shots to build up a tolerance to the pet dander that causes allergic reactions. But if you're not allergic, there's really no big issue with having a dog in the bed, says Damon, who for years shared his bed with his miniature dachshund. It's fine as long as it doesn't disturb your sleep. Snoring, kicking, cover-hogging pets. Which brings up another problem with sharing the bed with a pet: they can disturb your sleep. A study released by the Mayo Clinic Sleep Disorders Center found that about half the patients in the study had a dog or cat, and 53% of those pet owners said their pets disturbed their sleep in some way nightly. I've had patients that I've spent visit after visit going over their insomnia problems, trying to figure out what's happening. Then I find out they have a dog that's scratching all night, says Lisa Shives, MD, Medical Director of North Shore Sleep Medicine, a sleep center outside Chicago. Shives recommends that people who have difficulty sleeping consider keeping pets out of the bedroom. Should we let our dogs sleep in the bed? Many people expressed surprise when a recent survey of 23,000 dog owners revealed that nearly half of them allowed their dogs on their beds. The findings surprised me too. I was shocked that just over half of them did not sleep with their dogs. How peculiar. One of the many pleasures of owning a dog is snuggling up with them at night. It's so comforting to reach out to the small furry being snoozing away beside you. I have 4 dogs, 2 Bichons Frises, a small white mongrel and a collie, the latter 2 adopted from a Greek dog shelter. They have, unsurprisingly, quickly adapted from sleeping on bare concrete to the softest down. Although I am a light sleeper who suffers from terrible insomnia when having to share a bed with a partner, I don't have any problems nodding off with just my dogs for company. I even resorted to spending £7,000 on a specially made 9-feet bed from Peter Jones with 2 separate mattresses, but even with 4 feet between us I still couldn't sleep. He was banished to the spare room, where he now breathes noisily all night. He also prefers this regime, as he can drift off to sounds of the 60s. On his digital radio while lying spread-eagled on the bed. First thing in the morning and last thing at night he will join us all, but lack of space and licking from the dogs, I hasten to add, will soon drive him out. If we want time together, I must fling off my duvet, make a run for his room down the corridor and quickly slam the door before the dogs know what I'm doing and try to follow me, but the terrible wails and pitiful cries as they paw the door to get back in can easily destroy a romantic mood. Dogs are worse for your love life than children. As we have adopted more dogs over the years, my specially made bed has really come into its own because they like to sleep on the firm mattress, while I keep to my soft one. Having 9 feet for the 5 of us means there is plenty of space, and generally we all enjoy nights of undisturbed contentment except for the odd slurp from the water bowl or early morning howl if one of them is woken up by a fox rifling through the dustbins outside. Despite being a light sleeper, I am rarely disturbed thanks to super strength muffles earplugs from Boots, as well as my noise-blocking headphones. A straw poll of 10 mutt-loving friends reveals that 7 of them also sleep with their dogs. The other 3 would like to, but say their dogs don't want to sleep in bed with them. It's interesting that in a world where the idea of sharing the mattress with bedbugs absolutely horrifies most people, the prospect of sleeping with large, furry animals certainly does not. In fact, there's a whole industry devoted to manufacturing ramps to help dogs climb into owners' beds. I know this because a friend of mine has such a ramp for her elderly golden retriever. When the dog got too feeble to take the leap up into bed by himself, My friend didn't consider the possibility that maybe the canine really didn't need to sleep sprawled across her feet. And she's hardly alone. An American Pet Products Association survey showed that 62% of small dogs, 41% of medium-sized dogs and 32% of large dogs sleep with their owners, while 62% of cats sleep with their adult owners, and another 13% of cats sleep with children. You would think the mattress manufacturers would jump on that statistic and start making litter-size beds for people and their pets. But like teenagers so hormone-driven that they cram into the back seat of the Mustang in order to neck, pet. Loving people manage to fit the animal onto the mattress no matter the size. It's astonishing that so many people let pets sleep with them, given the popular notion that it's a dirty thing to do, letting pets on the furniture, that is. But is it really unhealthy? According to Derek Damon of Kentucky Allergy, Asthma and Immunology in Louisville, Kentucky, there's no real problem with sleeping with your pet unless you're allergic. If you are, you should not only keep Fido off your bed, you should banish him from the bedroom altogether, he says. Nevertheless, Damon claims, if you're not allergic, there's really no big issue with having a dog in the bed. It's fine as long as it doesn't disturb your sleep. If that were the end of the story. Unfortunately, not all the experts agree with Damon. Bruno Chummel, for instance, who is a professor of zoonosis at University of California, Davis, and his co-author Benson reviewed published literature about people's physical contact with their pets and found that there is indeed some health risk. They came up with about 100 risks associated with pet intimacy, including sleeping with pets, kissing them, and being licked by them. One of those risks is bubonic plague, which can come from a flea bite. Chummel and Son report the case of a 9-year-old who contracted the plague from sleeping with his sick cat when a plague-carrying flea bit the child. A 2008 study showed that among plague survivors, 44% had slept with their dog. Even when the researchers took into account numerous other factors, the risk of plague from sleeping with a dog remained extremely high. Relatively speaking. Interestingly, cats can't carry plague fleas without getting sick, but dogs can, which raises the risk. So if you live in an area that has reported that animals carry plague like most of the Midwest and Western U.S., you might want to think twice about inviting Spot and Fluffy under the covers. Another illness spread by pests from pets is Chagas disease. This is one of the deadliest parasitic infections in Latin America. This disease is spread through the bite of an insect known as the kissing bug, and can be fatal. A study conducted in Argentina showed that dog and cat owners were at increased risk of the disease, and owners who slept with their pets were at significantly higher risk. By the way, don't slough this one off if you live in the US. Some experts fear it is working its way north, particularly as temperatures continue to rise in northern latitudes. You can also get illnesses such as Lyme disease from ticks crawling off of your pet and onto you. Then there's cat scratch disease, also known as cat scratch fever, a name made famous by Rocket Ed Nugent. And yes, it is caused by cat scratches, if the cat is infected. A Connecticut study showed that patients with pets were much more likely to contract the disease if they slept with a kitten. And pet-borne illnesses aren't restricted to those coming from parasites and bites. You can also get communicable diseases that pass from pet to person, such as the case of a woman who developed meningitis after transferring food to her dog mouth to mouth. And there's another health risk that comes from pets on your mattress: disturbed sleep. A Mayo Clinic Sleep Disorders Center study showed that of pet owners who slept with their dog or cat, 53% reported that the animal disturbed their sleep nightly. As we all know, good sleep is essential to good health. So if your dog is a blanket hog or your cat is a snorer, you may want to relegate them to their own sleeping quarters. But safety isn't everything. The truth is that sharing your bed at all, whether with canine, feline, or human, is an inherently dangerous proposition. Your chances of getting an STD go up exponentially if you sleep with another person. So do your chances of catching the common cold, the deadly swine flu, and virtually any communicable disease, as does the possibility that your bedmate's snoring will arouse you from slumber. The safest bed is the solitary one, but what fun is that? If we wanted to completely insulate ourselves from disease, we would never procreate or recreate in bed, but clearly there are mitigating factors, and so it is with our pets. The truth is that the risk is not so great that you need to immediately relegate Rover to the cold floor, unless you prefer it that way. If your pets are clean and free of ticks, receive regular veterinary care, and are up to date on their vaccinations, you'll probably be just fine. Although young children whose immune systems are still developing and adults with compromised immune systems may be better off petless in bed. Some people feel safer with their dog nestled at their feet. Many feel happier, and happiness boosts the immune system. Perhaps the instinct to sleep with pets goes back to our roots as cave dwellers, where domesticated animals helped us to stay warm and acted as early warning systems against lurking predators. In any case, the desire to sleep with our pets seems deeply ingrained. One other thing you may want to consider: most pet behaviorists agree that pets get confused about their role when you let them sleep with you. And really, who wants a psychologically challenged pet? So if you want to avoid a trip to the animal shrink, the floor may be the best place for your pet after all.